factories, there's something that are needed in a country, and they are needed in Rise of Nations. So this is the factories tutorial for Rise of Nations. Let's get right into it. There are 6 main factories you need to know about in Rise of Nations. I will go over each and every one of them and what they need, what they require, and what they export. The first factory that's going to be talked about is the steel manufacturing. As Germany, you start off with 1 unit of iron, which gradually builds up every 5 days. And you do not start with titanium, and I will show you how to obtain titanium. But as you see, just click and wait for it to build. So as you can see, the steel manufacturing in Berlin is just about to complete, and now it's done. So white means that it's supplied and everything is going to normal, is being normal, but it'll be delayed for a second, and you can actually see that your stockpile increased. But red means it's not working properly. So what do you need to do? It says you need 4 units of iron, and we're down -3, but we still have some in our stockpile, so it'll work still. But we need is titanium, which has a negative stock and a negative amount each day. So what do? You just trade. Go to economy, titanium. And now you just wait a bit. And you stood, yep, and it's back to working normal. But now you need iron again because it's down to 13 units. Just go here. And boom. That's what steel does. And steel, you can go here. They are used to make battleships, a lot of naval units, and they are used in tanks, steel units. And if you go here, units, tanks. The next kind of factory that is important is the motor factory. And keep in mind, every factory is 25 million. The motor factory in Magdeburg is just completed, and it needs only 1 unit of steel and 2 units of tungsten. So let's get tungsten here. Buy. And look. These will begin to start producing resources that are needed in tanks. Just give it a second. Unless it, yes, it did do that. 0.1. And it should turn white and be operating normally. Yep, there it goes. These two in public servers, people would trade you for these to allow you to build tanks. And keep in mind, tanks cost oil. And there you go. And then with your steel, you can build up a navy, which also takes up oil. The very next type of factory will be the electronic factory, but instead we actually have some units that we can use. So if you just go to resources, iron, well, look at that, it's 0.5 even. Just go buildings, mines each, which usually are 20 million each, yep. And it improves the raw resources. But if you noticed, there was still no gold. So, gotta trade for it. And bam. You should have enough to keep your electronics factory going. There you go. The electronics factory is working up to normal. So, what do you use for electronics? You could use electronics for a civilian factory, which gives you stability for consumer goods, or consumer goods provide stability, which is needed. Or you could sell it on the market for a decent amount of profit, because gold and copper are quite cheap. You can just go on electronics 13 and you sell them to the biggest markets because they can afford it, and they usually always accept, and you get a nice stimulus check. The phosphate factory has been finished and really isn't recommended to use other than to provide fertilizer for the civilian factory, which I can build. So this provides fertilizer, which granted is an okay resource, but it's not the greatest compared to like electronics, which can boost your economy with just a single factory. With the civilian factory now built, it provides 40 civilian goods, and if you highlight all cities with control and drag your mouse, resources, a profit of 6 consumer goods, which is a big boost to your stability, which is on the rise. 25% boost to stability, but just only because consumer goods. So it's an influential part in stability if you have enough resources and you're in a late game and you already have everything you need. As you can see, it goes up. And if you want to export, you can. It's not the best because it takes a lot. So if you just go consumer goods, 65,000 for a lot of things put into it. It's okay. And then the last building, aircraft manufacturer. The aircraft manufacturer is the last and final factory that is talked about, that is common, not talked about, in Rise of Nations. It allows you to build aircraft parts, which in turn allows you to build aircraft units, aircraft parts. Keep in mind they also do take control of your oil. And then it'll also allow you to build an aircraft carrier, which is extremely costly, but still be able to be built because it only takes 10 aircraft parts. And aircraft parts are quite sought after in public service. Factories are an essential part in Rise of Nations, and they help you achieve in developing as a country and developing your military so you can take over other countries and become the largest in the server.